Hey, if you're watching this on YouTube but you're getting ready to watch my content on my YouTube channel, I would encourage you to hit the subscribe button because this video is not made for kids, it's for all the fans and the adults. So sit back and enjoy the video. Warning, this episode contains a thematic, harmful scene that will disturb viewers. If you don't feel safe watching this video, please click away. You have been warned.
The Sudrian Isle off the coast of Britain, it's about 60 miles. There's good and there's bad and there's stuff in between. With steamies and diesels, you'll see what I mean. People and parcels, works lots of fun. Watch these engines out in the snow, rain and sun. They work real hard, they stay on track. Oh no, there's some baddies, just watch your back. Are you looking for fun? Yes, we're looking for fun. Are you being really useful? We're being really useful. Sit back and relax. It's the tales of the Northwestern Rails. It's the tales of the Northwestern Rails. Hope you enjoy. What the dickens, Tiger Moth? Hey, Percy, guess what?
Humphrey, it's like almost 6 in the morning.
You're right. Sir Robert Norramby has invited us to go on a trip to York.
To York? Whatever for?
Yes, to the National Railway Museum. You, me, and Duck. Isn't that right, Duck? Great. Come on, Percy, ignite that fire. We gotta get rolling.
Must it be this early?
Percy, just go with them. You can sleep on the flatbed during your trip.
So with that, Percy reluctantly ignited his fire and puffed on over to the flatbed to get loaded up.
Alright, bring him up. And there you go.
Once Percy was loaded, Duck put the breakdown train back to the Harwick branch and fetched a coach for Sir Robert and some other passengers. Good morning, Sir Robert. I hope we're not too late.
Not to worry, Humphrey. You're right on time. I even brought a few members for the Topham family, too. Bertram and Sallyhead, the children of Sir Richard, and Sir Loam, the brother of Sir Stephen.
A brother?
Yes, Sir Ski. Sir Loam's the name. Jokes and entertainment at your service. My brother told me all about you.
Oh, has he? Well, pleasure to meet you. Hop on board to the York Express.
Lovely chocolate.
Is everybody ready?
All set.
All set!
Okay, everyone. It's go time.
It's alright. I went before we left.
We better take a rest at Manchester, and then continue to York tomorrow. It's a 2-hour ride from there. So that's what the engines did. They found an engine shed next to the airport at Manchester, while their passengers booked a hotel to stay for the night.
Well, the first several morning trains. Time to go.
Alright, so this must be York. Excuse me. May one of you direct us to the museum? Oh, right. Not everyone here is sentient. That building over there looks promising. Maybe I could ask someone there. Excuse me. Excuse me.
What? Huh? What?
Yes, hello. Apologies for interrupting your nap. Is this by chance York?
Oh, yes. Where'd you come from?
The island of Sodor.
Sodor. Well, that's a surprise. We haven't had anyone from Sodor since 1990.
We?
Us staff at the National Railway Museum.
This is the National Railway Museum?
The one and only.
Oh, aces! We made it! Oh, thank you so much, sir! Everyone! We're here! The passengers and the Topham family were most delighted. They booked in their tickets and they entered the museum, while Percy arrived at the York yards to get unloaded from the flatbed, and the other engines entered in the locomotive entry of the museum.
Does he know that half of these engines are series of Sodor? This shouldn't be new to him.
Just let him have fun, Duck. Being in a railway museum is at least new to him. And for us, too. So this is the National Railway Museum, eh? I can get used to this.
Smashing! Now you all have to stay together, and I'm gonna go snap some photos and have myself a good time.
The engines were having the time of their lives. There he is! In all his glory! The engine, the myth, the legend, Mallard! the fastest steam locomotive in the world, clocking 126 miles per hour on July 3rd, 1938.
Quite so, my boy. And did you know that there were plans made to try and make me go faster? Unfortunately, fate had other ideas, especially involving World War II. But that's alright, because of my streamlined appearance was used in the P2 classes 2003 to 2006, even the rebuild of Gressley's Class W1. Hush, hush.
How innovative!
Indeed. But sometimes I think my speed is a curse. Did you know that before the Flying Scotsman was chosen to take a trip to Australia, I happened to be a candidate to go there instead?
Wait, you plan to go to Australia too? So how come you haven't gone to the land down under?
Bad timing. I was scheduled to sail to Australia in 1988, but my trip was cancelled in December a year prior. Mainly because 1988 marked my 50th anniversary of hitting that speed record. So I had to stay. Such a shame. I was really looking forward to meeting Pendennis Castle there, who was on the continent at the time from 77 to 2000.
Pendennis Castle?
Oh, I knew him once. He's a great Western class hall.
My word! If I had a nickel for every time a Great Western engine did something before Scotsman did, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Well, my life may have been a tad turbulent, but all in all, I've lived a good life on the rails. 2013 was especially memorable, reuniting with my other 6 siblings. Spencer, Union of South Africa, Sir Nigel, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Britain. Oh, how I've missed them.
That must have been your best highlights in railway life. Well, thank you for sharing some knowledge with us, Mallard.
Excuse me, sir. Are you the owner of this locomotive?
No, but me nephew is. I'm sure he won't mind. What's on your mind?
We're going to have a couple engines on the demonstration line, and we were wondering if this Panya tank engine would volunteer.
Ooh, what a marvelous idea!
Then my station line.
Outside of the museum were 3 sets of track: narrow gauge, standard gauge, and broad gauge. This is what's known as the demonstration line. Percy was most impressed seeing both the standard and narrow gauge engines rolling on it. And he was most excited to see Duck being the next standard gauge engine to run the line.
Shouldn't have skipped me coffee. If only we had some of those little cups of grounded beans.
Meanwhile inside, Humphrey communicated with another well-known engine at the museum. Oh my gosh! Evening Star! The last 9F ever built! Let alone the last steam engine built by British Railways.
Precisely. Built in 1960 and ran services until 65. I sure stood out of all of my other siblings, painted in a bronze green rather than goods engine black. Aside from my banking and goods run, I also got the opportunity to hold passenger express runs too. Well, at least for a short time. Many were concerned about my running gear being ravished from high speeds, and topping it off, I was marked for preservation here on the day I was built.
Golly whiz. That must have been one heck of a finale for steam services on the main line.
Quite so, lad. A grand final hurrah for steam.
Well, at least we have a good epilogue for this book of steam locomotion. And a nice start to a new chapter. We still have some steam engines running, and even some new ones currently being built, too. Like we just had Beachy Head, and including, from what I heard, next year, a new
Humphrey, let's go! There's a demonstration line event happening.
Oh, cool! Sorry, ma'am. I guess I'm needed elsewhere. It was an honor to meet you, Evening Star.
Enchanted as always, especially with guests like you.
Percy and Humphrey exited the museum to watch Duck on the demonstration line, But to their horror, they saw Duck being loaded on the broad gauge track, due to the driver feeling so fatigued.
Alright, just turn on the winch.
Is it just me, or is this track broken too wide?
Oh no! Duck's going to get rolled onto the wrong track!
Hey, stop! Percy and Humphrey whistled loud and long to get the lorry driver's attention, but it was too late. Duck was lowered onto the broad gauge track. The sleepers cracked and splintered wood flew about until Duck tumbled to a halt. Luckily, no one was hurt.
Oops. Oh boy.
So this is broad gauge Thomas told me about.
Goodness, I guess you could say he wasn't on the right track.
Sir, please.
What, too soon?
Duck was towed back onto the lorry and taken to the workshop next to the museum.
Is this engine okay? Oh, he's okay. His boiler ticket expired.
While Duck's chassis was getting repaired, Percy took over for Duck on the demonstration line. Everyone was amazed. Impressive. The engine spent the night at the museum, and then the next day, it was time to go home.
Well, Sir Robert, that was a lovely juggly trip. Thank you for bringing us with you. I bet you had lots of fun. I saw you snapping numerous photos.
Indeed I have, Sir Loam. Not just for memory, but I'm using it for a reference of a project I've been assigned for too long.
Is that so? What kind of project?
Oh, I wish I could tell you, but I mustn't spoil the surprise. For now, let's all head home.
Farewell, engines of soda, and tell Murdoch I said hello.
Godspeed, lads. Have a safe journey back.
You mates take care. Tell Thomas we say hi.
Goodbye. Nice to see you, all of you.
And with the blow of the whistle, the cavalcade left the museum and stopped at Barrow-in-Furness for a rest, while the Topham family and Sir Robert took an Uber over the Jubilee Bridge and made their way back to Sodor. Look at that, lads. It's the morning milk, making its way to Sodor. We better make our way back to Sodor, too. And they did just that. Arriving back on Sodor, all three engines made their way to their designated resting spots. Percy returned to Titmuth Sheds. Duck returned to the Little Western. And Humphrey returned to Knapford Sheds. Oh, York. And how was your trip to York, Humphrey? It was amazing, Murdoch. We went to the National Railway Museum, and I saw Flying Scotsman, Duchess of Hamilton, and Mallard. Oh, that's nice. Oh, and I also saw your sister, Evening Star. She says hello to you. Oh, that's real lovely. And maybe someday you'll go to Swindon to see City of Turo. But now, we better get to work. Ye and the other engines have a nice sleep in. See you this afternoon.
Good day, Murdoch.
That afternoon, all three engines woke up from their sleep-in and made their way with their afternoon jobs. Humphrey was fetching a goods train from Teignmouth Harbor and had to take it to Vicarstown. The sun was shining, the air was starting to get cooler and crispy, and Humphrey felt quite pleased. Yep, It's just that kind of day. The sun is bright, not a single cloud in sight. It's that kind of a day. I got my trucks and I'm just so full of luck. It's that kind of a day. We took a trip, it was quite vast. Saw many kinds of trains, some I've not seen before. The memories will surely last. This will for sure be engraved into my brain. Now I'm glad I'm home, here on Sodor we can roam. It's that kind of a day. It's my kind of a, your kind of a, our kind of a.
What kind of a?
That kind of a day! Good evening, you two. Isn't this an agreeable, pleasable, pleasurable day?
Well, aside from the voices, yes, today is a good day.
Voices?
Over the last few days, we heard conversations over at the shunting yards during closing hours.
We believe it's just some trespassers. I keep telling them there's going to be a £1,000 fine if they don't leave the property.
Well, I got some rolling stock to arrange at the shunting yards. Hopefully I can hear him from there. So that's what Humphrey did. Arriving late at the Vicarstown shunting yards, he shunted some box vans over at a siding when he heard the said voices.
Oh, would you please cease your complaints? We're going to get out of here.
How could I, Manfred? There's nothing not to complain about.
Hello? But there was no response. It suddenly got quiet. Teenagers these days. I better inform Sir Topham Hatt about this the following day. And he did just that.
If we're going to make the Earl's Rail Museum a smashing hit, we're going to need a bunch of new engines, and I know just the batch. Hello, Humphrey. What's on your mind?
Excuse me, sir. Real quick, I regret to inform you that there's some trouble brewing at the Vicarstown shunting yards.
Well, by convenience, me and Sir Topham Hatt are visiting Vicarstown as we speak. We'll take your word for it.
Oh, well that's good to hear. Take care, you two. With that, Sir Topham Hatt and Albert made their way to Vicarstown. For the rest of the day, Humphrey was quite relieved.
Everything okay, Humphrey?
Oh, I'm doing quite better now. Henry and Billy told me about some voices at Vicarstown shunting yards yesterday, but I reported it to Sir Topham Hatt, and things should be good in the neighborhood.
Good to hear. Well, I better be off with the mail train.
And with that, Percy collected his utility vans for the mail run and began his night shift mail train. At dawn, when he was dropping off the utility vans, he saw Sir Topham Hatt and Albert emerging from an open area at the Vicarstown shunting yards. The two looked pleased, so Percy assumed that the trespasser issues have been resolved. He reported it to Humphrey the following hour.
Morning, Humphrey. This morning, I saw Sir Topham Hatt and Albert seemingly investigating the area. So I think our little trespassing issue has been solved.
You see, Percy? What'd I tell ya? But unbeknownst to both of them later that evening, their delight would be dashed.
Come now, Audrey. If they discovered Great Warrington back in 2008,
Wait,
they surely
again?
will discover us again at some point. Maybe.
The chances of us being rediscovered are 1,000,000 to 1.
then there's still a chance, right?
It's coming from that opening.
Driver, throw the switch. And he did just that. Without a second thought, Humphrey charged at the source of the noise.
Stop! Wait! Don't go down that track!
And then there was trouble. Humphrey peered in and saw some unfamiliar faces. Ah! Who are you? Ah! Who are you? Ah! With no time to spare, help arrived. Humphrey was towed out of the building, and Sir Topham Hatt had a stern word with Humphrey.
You should consider yourself lucky that no one was hurt, Humphrey.
Yes, sir. I'm really sorry, sir.
It's fine. But aside of this accident, looks like we found the Voices of Vicarstown.
Apologies, sir. I probably should have weighed by the set of points.
Well, well, well. What have we here? My name is Manfred.
I'm Ward.
I'm Stuart.
I'm Audrey. And yes, I'm named after the author himself.
And I'm Bafana.
These engines were my grandfather's collection for a railway museum in the 70s until his passing in 97. Ever since his death, the museum closed, which was a terrible mistake since there were reports of vandalism and trespassing. So the place became guarded during the early 2000s. But seeing it now looks like it's some abandoned prison. So when Sir Robert shared his plans for a project of his, I felt the need to act and get these engines a new home, rather than sit and rust in this dilapidated building.
I must say, Richard, this batch of engines is perfect for my latest project.
Oh? What kind of project, sir?
A railway museum.
A railway museum?
Yes. This was an idea I had since 2016, but it never came to be, and I had to put it on hold in 2018. But now with some modification and reference, I can now tie up the loose end.
What kind of references, sir?
Why, our trip to York, of course. I took photos so I can have a good idea for my museum layer at the castle.
Oh, ho, ho, clever thinking, sir.
Next, we'll have your grandfather's engines out, then restored it, and we'll work from here.
First things first, we'll need to fix this track. If we start now, it should be done by the weekend.
Oh, that would be lovely, sir. Thank you.
What is a weekend? And after a good smirk and chuckle, everyone got to work with setting up the Earl's Railway Museum at Ulfstead. Halloween time was right around the corner on the island of Sodor. Things were starting to get spooky, children were dressing up, and the treats were being served. And for once in a lifetime, the moon will be getting a temporary neighbor, that being Little Moon, the asteroid from September to November. However, before the spooky season begins, the engines still have work to do. Like the Coley Fell Railway, it extended its operations for at least one more month before closing in November, although it's the diesels that will be running in October, while the steam engines start their hibernation in September. And just most recently, a batch of new engines have been rediscovered at the original Vicarstown Railway Museum, so they're all going to be restored. Humphrey was just at the steamworks having his pony truck examined when he saw Spencer rolling up to the steamworks.
Evening, everyone. Goodness, seems we've got some new faces here.
Spencer! Surprised to see you. What are you doing here?
My boiler ticket expired, so I'm due for a new one.
Join the club.
Alright, my shell's going up now. You lads prepare your bowels for what I'm apologizing in advance for when I say what you're about to see may not be a pretty sight. And if you have young children, this should be a good time for you to exit the works.
Well, at least it's not a take your kids to work day.
I strongly agree, Ward. Alright, amigos, hoist them up! Workmen fetched some chains and hoisted Spencer's streamlined body up, and being exposed were his frames, boiler, and firebox.
Chuffing Nora! Is that how we look on the inside?
Well, it beats having my smoke box door opening. I look like a pit viper unhinging its jaws when I open it.
Please, that is nothing compared to what I saw when Connor opened up his smoke box door. I was in therapy for a fortnight after my overhaul.
I can only imagine.
One of the workmen turned on Spencer's steam, and the rest of them started to take notes. When it was confirmed for Spencer to be due for a new boiler, the workman climbed back up, but lost his balance and tripped. He grabbed onto his throttle instead of his handrail. With the throttle open, Spencer's body started to move, and left the steamworks.
Hey, where's my body going? Somebody stop it before it crashes!
Spencer's body started to run loose on the main line.
What the dickheads?
Was that even an engine? I don't know, Peter Sam. It looked like some kind of skeleton. His frames were exposed.
I want all traffic halted on the mainland immediately.
Will do. Signals were changed, points were switched, trains were halted. They had never seen an engine's open body running on the main line before.
What was that?
They were horrified of the sight. Eventually, Sir Topham Hatt caught wind of this as well through the telephone, and rallied up the Scottish twins to put an end to Spencer's runaway.
Alright, when the engine comes to view, start backing up and brake hard when in contact.
Sure enough, the twins heard rapid puffing noises. There was Spencer's body.
It's approaching. Get ready.
The twins started to reverse, and Spencer's body bumped into the twins, and the Scottish twins braked hard. Come on, Donnell! Put your cab into it!
I'm doing it, Dookie! I'm turning!
Christian, the railway inspector, was at the Tidmouth goods station, ready to hop on Spencer's cab and shut his steam off for good.
Hurry up, Mindy! I'm feeling exposed!
Oh, no! Oh, Christian, hurry up! Hold tight, lads! I'm almost done! With the shutting off of steam and applying the brakes, the cavalcade finally came to a stop.
We did it, Dookie! Good live forever!
About 35 minutes later, Humphrey arrived to fetch Spencer's body and bring him back to the works. Well, this franchise just keeps getting weirder, doesn't it? Now we've got some Skeleton Steamie on the loose on this island. You know, come to think of it, I wonder if that will be an idea for Sir Robert. Having a display of an engine's interior. Yeah, that could show kids how a steam engine works. I got into the glow-in-the-dark paint while I was at the works. I've always wanted to wear something like this. Oh, and additionally, happy Halloween, folks. Spencer was reunited with his body back at the steelworks, and after some final testing, it was confirmed that Spencer needed a new boiler.
He's gonna be here for quite some time, so we're very good storage. Just drop him at 1-2 to go around the island and collect scrap metal so we can melt it down to mold a new boiler. You up for it?
So Humphrey did just that. He collected some flatbeds and went around the island to collect some scrap in order to be melted down and molded into a new boiler.
Stephen, Millie, and Bafana, Ward, Manford, Stewart, and Audrey, yeah. Day after day after day after day after day we fly past the moon and the sun and we don't know why.
Careful there!
Careful!
Apologies. Is this Ulfstead Castle?
Yes, of all the places to put a museum.
My, it appears a new engine has entered the museum.
Oh, hello, sir. My name is Elmer. I was the first engine to ever run the Peel Godred line when it was opened back at 23.
Whoa, Elmer! Welcome to Ulfstead Castle. We'll have some hanging wires posted back up for you to run on during the demonstrations. It's been 5 years since we have an engine with pentagraphs on the castle grounds.
While everything was being assembled, Percy was having a little chat with Glenn and Stephen about the new railway museum.
This is quite exciting. After about 8 years, we're finally having our own railway museum, and quite a variety of engines too.
You think the museum needs some display with some alchemist tool?
Or Coke?
Coke? Like the soda pop? Or Coca-Cola?
No. It's not that kind of Coke, Percy.
Oh! You mean to tell me that you ran on Snord powdered?
No. Not that kind of Coke either. I meant another fuel source before coal. Though it's more expensive.
Oh, okay. Maybe Barry can find some at the coal storage area at Crosby.
Perfect. Right? Then, why don't you collect some valuables for the museum?
Me? Join you? But I'm not sure where to find any valuables for the museum.
What about somewhere that is underused?
Underused, you say? Well, I think I may know one place as long as Sir Robert's okay with it.
So everything was agreed and arranged. Percy's first stop was the Farquhar branch to pick up a couple trucks.
Ah, Percy, heading out today?
Yep, Barry and I are off to find some good artifacts for the museum. We'll be heading to some underused locations, but I can image it being dangerous.
Oh, my boy, you are in a lot more danger in this castle, I assure you.
After some confidence, Percy and Barry left the castle and made it to the Farquhar branch line to meet up with Old King's Cole and Son Cole.
Hey there, Old King Cole and Son Cole.
Hello, Percy.
Hello, Percy. What's today's train?
We're going to find some artifacts for the new railway museum at Ulfstead Castle. Our first stop is finding coke at the coal storage area.
You mean outside the branch line? Now that'll be an adventure.
Well, I don't believe that we have any coke on the island, but we do have some grapeseed husks. Maybe you could fetch some at the coaling plant. It'll teach the people about alternate fuel sources for steam locomotives. So Percy did just that. He coupled up to the 2 trucks, and the whole train made their way to the Crosby coaling plant, now used as a storage area, to pick up some samples of coal and grapeseed husks, before making their way to their first underused location. That being the Knapford Quarry.
I don't believe I've been on this part of the island before.
It's been a long time since Percy had been here. Specifically, since Diesel tricked him into thinking the mayor would be there to be picked up. It was there where Percy had to pick up some stone, as well as some rail ties, fish plates, and other bits and pieces that make the tracks. He was just about to leave when he heard a familiar loud voice. Hello, Percy!
Hannah? Goodness, it's been a long time.
Agreed. It's been too long. So what brings you here to the old Knapford Quarry, eh?
We're looking for artifacts for the new railway museum at Ulfstead Castle. Do you by chance know any old locations worth seeing?
Well, that big blue tender engine with the number 2 on its side said something about a regatta at one point. Maybe ye could check there.
Oh, I know that place quite well. Thanks, Hannah.
So they left the quarry and made their way along the Brendam branch line, then onto an old junction that led to the regatta.
Percy, I don't know about you, but this place looks abandoned to me.
Indeed, it was abandoned. The regatta had recently closed back in 2020 due to the global shutdown and lockdown from the pandemic. The poor regatta had not been maintained for a long time. Suddenly, the ground was starting to shake, and the pier below Percy was starting to break.
Whoa, bubbling boilers!
Not even the pier was maintained.
Whoa, careful, lads. This pier doesn't look stable.
The pier's weakening.
Get off the pier now.
But Percy couldn't. He knew that if he tried to back up now, Percy would only make things worse. The only thing he could do was wince and brace for the disaster to strike. Sure enough, the ground gave way and Percy fell through with a crashing splash. When he opened his eyes, he found that only his wheels and footplate were submerged in the water. Everything else remained above the surface.
Percy, are you alright?
It's okay, Perrie. I'm fine, I guess.
Percy, are you alright?
It's okay, Perrie. I'm fine, I guess.
Alright, I'll go get help.
Barry fetched the breakdown train, and they quickly got to work to save Percy and his trucks. Thankfully, the trucks were saved, but the load was lost. Percy was in despair, and Sir Robert was disappointed.
It seems I was wrong to put my trust in you collecting some valuables for my railway museum. I should have just let Perrie deal with it.
With Percy out of commission, a new shunter will have to take over for Percy's duties. Quite conveniently, it was on the way right now. But I mustn't say more, for it would spoil the next story, wouldn't it?
I'm dreadfully sorry about Percy's accident, Sir Topham. Again, I should have let Perrie do all the job himself.
It's okay, Sir Robert. At least Percy's doing okay at the works. I'm just puzzled on why Barry told him to join him on a scavenger hunt for valuables for the museum. Barry's usually a capable engine. Oh well, right now I need to find an engine to cover the shunting at the castle grounds.
Well, how do you worry, Sir Topham? And just the right time. I've loaded an engine to help us with the museum's construction. A strong shunter that can haul over 1,000 tons from the company Post's attraction. It's a diesel!
A diesel? What kind of diesel?
A diesel that runs purely on battery power.
On the island of Sodor, everything was continuing to run normal like a well-lubricated clock. Come the day of the new engine's arrival, the museum engines were having an indignation meeting.
Have you lot heard what happened? Percy got into a terrible accident while collecting valuables for the museum.
So he has. Well, can't say all run-down tracks and piers are always caused of train accidents.
Oh? Well, what is the worst cause of a train accident? Empty sanders, perhaps?
Nope.
Faulty brakes?
Nope.
Well, whatever the worst cause is, this is quite a predicament. With Percy out of commission, who will shunt the museum pieces out?
I'll give it a go. It might be slow light work, but I'll do what I can.
That will be necessary, Ward. Our visitor will be helping shutting the trucks until the opening. And here they come now!
And there was the diesel engine, who quietly rolled up to the platform. It was the battery-powered diesel.
Thank you, glory!
A battery diesel?
I've never seen an engine like that before.
Good day to you all. My name is 08E. I am a prototype battery diesel Shunter, originally made from a 08 by the positive traction.
A battery engine? But don't they lose power if used too long? How'd you get here?
We had an engine for us, and now I was given one of your drivers to operate us on the grounds.
At last we arrived on Sodor.
Oh, goodness, driver. You look so weary.
Oh, yeah. I kinda slept in the cab. I didn't expect the trip to Sodor to be that long. We traveled all the way from the Huaytili Quarry. With 080's original driver having insomnia, Sir Robert allowed him to rest at the castle while the substitute driver got to work operating 080. They shunted the engines into their sidings at the museum building under construction, as well as arranging some rolling stock and Christmas decorations as well. The engines were amazed on how much of an absolute unit 080 was. They were a real juggernaut. Late that afternoon, 080 was assigned to arrange some rolling stock and take it to Tidmouth Station for Humphrey to pick up. They arrived at the harbor, marveled it, and examined the trucks.
There were several of them, and some had some lethal cargo.
So this is the Mark Harbor. Impressive.
Well, you betcha enjoy it while you can. Thanks to global warming and some melted ice, the Atlantic Ocean currents are screwed up. Alright, enough chitter-chatter. Let's get to work. 080's substitute wasn't fond of battery engines, despite 080 working like a charm. Sure enough, the train was arranged, and all that was left was to get the brake van hitched up as well. As they were rolling to the appropriate siding where the brake van was, the substitute driver noticed something. Oh, botheration. Hey, what's wrong, lad? The bloody points are set against us. What's your stopping distance? At least about 4 or 5 trucks to a stop. Shang it! That's when he would make the biggest mistake on the railway. I'm hopping out. Hey, do not get out of that cab, man! It's a bloody electric engine! You know they're unreliable, it won't pick up speed. So he left the cab to set the switch, but not before getting his sleeve caught on the throttle, accidentally kicking it to full power.
Driver, what the hell are you doing?
The substitute driver jogged up ahead and set the points. But as he tried to get back on the train, he noticed that 080 was starting to pick up some speed and leaving the harbor quite fast. Ah, shoot! The driver ran alongside, grabbed the handrail for a few seconds before getting dragged along the concrete and finally letting go, landing hard into the ballast. Shoot! So now what the heck do we do? Hey! That's my train! Where's that diesel going? Outside of Tidmouth, the yardmaster contacted a signalman just outside the Knapford overpass.
Hello? A coaster? Really? Oh snap! The 08E, the battery diesel! Alright, I just finished break. I'll get right to the signal box.
He finished his luncheon and got on to the points to switch them to the overpass, hoping that what seemed to be a coaster would slow down at the tracks. He waited and waited, but no engine came. Sure enough, a horn was heard. It was Sandy. The signalman flagged her down and asked her if she saw any runaway train, but she didn't. The signalman made contact to the Tidmouth yardmaster.
Yeah, it's me, Louie.
Did you throw that switch in?
Yeah, 6 minutes ago. But the train is not here. I thought we would go slower than we thought. But then this railed speeder showed up and said she hasn't seen it either.
Are you saying our train's already passed?
Yes, Loss. That may be the case.
It's not a coaster, that train's under power.
That may be the case too.
This may as well be one of the most critical runaways ever.
And this isn't even our engine!
If 080 derails, we're gonna receive a link for the message from the post-ups extraction company.
Okay.
Now there was no time to dilly-dally. Everyone was going to do everything they can to stop the runaway. Everyone's first attempt to stop the runaway was attempt to derail them at a slow speed. Charlie shunted a flatbed full of crates. One of them had a portable derailleur ready to derail the train. The only problem was that the derailleurs were only designed to stop trains that go under 10 miles per hour. 080 was going much too fast, and they plowed right through the derailleur, continuing down the rails. At the Crosby Washdown, they attempted to derail 080 yet again, only this time at the loop line. But unfortunately, they still stayed on the rails. Then a few bystanders along the line attempted to hop onto 080 and get into their cab to finally stop the runaway. But at this point, the train was going much too fast, and they were swift to withdraw. Police caught up with 080 and pulled out their radar speed guns. They clocked the engine going 50 miles per hour. Some news people got onto Harold to keep tracking the runaway.
Time to take to the skies!
It wasn't long until Harold finally caught up to the runaway.
There's the train! They just crushed the front viaduct!
They had one more plan, which involved Murdoch, who was taking an ingots train from Peel Godred when he was flagged down by a station master at Abbey.
Leave your trucks here, Murdoch. You'll need it at Kildane for an emergency.
Very well. I'm on me way.
He left his trucks in the siding, and Murdoch raced to the mouth of Kildane, positioning himself to overtake the runaway.
Dylan Cole here, live at Kildane Station with the Northwest Railway Standard 9F Murdoch in the attempt to stop a runaway train. The driver, Evan Soups, left the engine to manually set the switch in the right direction, only to fail to get back on the engine as it began to pick up speed. He will be held accountable for the runaway.
Saw 080 at the distance, and Murdoch's throttle opened, and the chase was on.
And there goes Murdoch entering the main line with a runaway train, pulled by Positive Traction's battery engine 08E on rapid approach. This is the railway's only chance to stop the runaway before the difficult bend with the speed limit of 25 miles per hour. And with a speed of nearly 50, there is no chance the train will make that curve. We'll pass you now to Harold's camera to watch the attempt in action.
You ready for a little sumo? Let's do it!
They matched the engine speed and got ready to put the brakes on both the engine and the tender.
They have contact!
Fireman, we're gonna get shoved off!
No, we're not. We're just nudging. That's all. We're just nudging.
Just lost our brakes!
Yeah.
I hear you.
Like the brakes have blown. Huge flames.
It's no good, old boy! Your tender brakes have broke off! You'll have to rely on your driving wheels. There's still plenty of traction. Easier said than done! Still not going slow enough. We'll have to try to cruise through the curves.
We're coming into the curve! Get ready!
The whole island was anxiously sweating.
Here we go!
Hit that independent! Hit that independent as hard as you can!
Driver, we're gonna shred right through!
Got no choice! Hang on! Hit it! Hit it again! Now!
They made it through the curve. Repeat, they made it through the curve.
After cruising through the difficult bend, Murdoch started to feel the train slowing down.
My batteries are dying.
Keltstrup's Road straight ahead!
Up ahead at Keltstrup Road was Sir Topham Hatt by the platform. He was getting ready to hop on to 080's cab. Sure enough, he leapt on and cut the throttle's power and put the brakes onto 080. They went slower and slower until they finally crawled to a halt. Everyone can now exhale a sigh of relief. Later that evening, Henry arrived with 080 at Ulfstead Castle, parking them next to the museum engines.
080! Are you okay?
I'm shaken, but fine. You can bring Mr. Suppy to Triangle Hill.
It happened with a worst cause of train accidents.
Jammed controls?
No.
Leaky brake pipes?
No.
Oh, please, Audrey, just tell the others what the cause is.
The worst cause of train accidents is human error.
And after some tranquility and laughter, the engines began talking about the rest of their day. It was holiday time on the island of Sodor, and all of the engines were busier than ever. Good day, Kana. Oh dear, it's not even tea time and you're already worn out.
Oh, hello, Humphrey. I've got dozens of customers in my coaches that I get to do some shopping. Whatever is all hullabaloo about?
Oh yeah, it's Black Friday today. All the customers fighting over sales and BOGOs and other clearances and such. Oh, now things are getting physical. Alright, I'll get the beanbag rounds. Really didn't want to use this. Our customers are trying to shop! Back at Ulfstead Castle, 080 was having their battery charged. And while their battery was getting recharged, at the right time, Percy was repaired and will cover their shunting. Sir Robert wanted to do what Percy tried to do a few days ago, trying to collect some items worth the museum. So Percy gave him the recap.
So a small piece of rare fish plate and rare spikes. Sounds like a good bunch. I believe I know just where to look, but I'm gonna need a crew for the search party like in the 1970s.
Barry dropped Sir Robert off at Tidmouth Station. It was there where he met up with two of his new recruits that volunteered for the scavenger hunt, John and his daughter.
Thank you so much for joining me, Mr. John.
Thanks for having us here, Sir Robert. Glad to assist you on your little scavenger hunt. Nikki's quite excited too, aren't you?
Yep, I haven't been to that Alicedale Railway before, so this will be exciting.
The three people got on board Isabel, and Oliver escorted them to the Arlesdale Railway. It was there where they met up with Patton Clark, the current controller of the Arlesdale Railway.
Welcome to the Arlesdale Railway. So what brings you lot out here this afternoon?
We're here to explore the Mid Sudrians Railway in search of some track pieces.
Certainly. I'll have Jock fetch a coach and we'll be on our way.
They hopped on board Jock, and four of the crew members went along the railway to meet up with Bertie at Arlesdale. During their trip, Sir Robert told his crew about the time when he discovered Duke along with a search party when he was 30. The crew was fascinated and were eager to find whatever they could salvage and take to the museum. At last they arrived at Arlesdale to meet up with Bertie.
Where to first?
To the old Arlesdale sheds, please. We're on a hunt for old rail bits and pieces.
With pleasure. All aboard! And Bertie left Arlesdale to make their way to the original location of Arlesdale, that being the old sheds. By the sheds, they found some rail spikes, but another surprising sight that shook everyone's hearts.
Fellas, you might want to take a look at this.
Oh my goodness!
was that?
I believe that's Smudger. He was a new number 2 of the Mid Sudrians Railway, replacing Baldwin twice. Both engine and power source of the Arlesdale sheds.
Discussions were made on whether or not to restore Smudger, but they were dropped.
Given the condition he's in, it's doubtful.
Agreed. Let's search further up. Reaching Casney Hawin.
Good idea. Everyone back on Bertie.
Everyone got back on board Birdie, and Birdie continued all the way down until they reached where the road ends, at the old Casney Hawin line. Everyone searched around, but couldn't find anything much.
Well, not exactly any rail lines in this area.
At last, something caught John's eye.
Oh, hello. What's this? It looks like some kind of rod of an engine.
That's a perfect addition.
Well, at least we found something worth the museum.
Let's try searching for another abandoned railway further up north, the Kengo Railway.
Oh yeah, I recently heard about the railway of the Unlucky Dog's latest videos.
I thought I heard something.
The search party left the mine and got back onto Birdie to make their way to Harwick. Along the way, Birdie's radio was starting to get a little fritzy. John could have sworn that he heard that voice back at the mines again.
Final stop, Harwick.
When Birdie arrived at Harwick, the search party marched their way to the old overgrown tracks of the Kronk and Harwick line. It was there when they finally found some fish plates and a rail to get to the museum. But by the time they finished up, it was getting dark. Just then, they started to hear something.
Shh! Listen! I'm hearing footsteps.
Shh, shh, shh. I can hear them too.
Suddenly, a light was seen in the distance. It was glowing quite bright, but then it faded away with no response.
Dad, are you alright? You've been edged since we left the mine.
This is really unsettling. Strange things have been happening since we left the mine. Steam hissing, the voice on the radio, the footsteps. I think we should return the rod to the mine.
Then we may as well do just that, if that's okay with you, Sir Robert. You did say you were only looking for rail spikes, fish plates, and rail lines after all.
Very well then. I'm starting to get the heebie-jeebies myself. To the bus!
Everyone got back onto Birdie, and Birdie floored it all the way back to Arlesdale. Mr. Clark requested Mike to take them to Arlesdale Green. Mike dropped off the search party at Arlesdale Green, where they met up with Birdie yet again, and they tried to race back to Casney Hawin, but when they got to the original Arlesdale sheds...
Blast it! What happened?
Don't rattle my radiator! I've blown a flat tire! You'll have to continue the rest of the way by foot, folks. Sorry.
Birdie's driver walked back to Arlesdale to call for help, while the search party jogged the rest of the way back to the mines. What happened next? No one can explain.
There's the mine. Now we just have to... Ugh. Great.
This batch of dirt wasn't this damp before. It's like quicksand.
Hold on, I see a light. Help us! We're sinking!
right.
Give me back my rod!
Sir Robert, the rod!
After the blackout, the crew woke up on the ground and saw that the rod was right back where it was found.
What? Huh? What just happened?
Nikki? Are you okay?
Dad, I'm alright!
Just then, a bell and horn was heard. It was Bulgy, the double-decker bus.
There you are! What the dickens are you lot doing? I get an emergency call about passengers stranded on the old Mid Sudrians path, and I see you all rolling in the dirt.
Sorry, Bulgy. We've, tripped.
Alright. Just try to brush yourselves off before hopping on board.
Oh well, that's that.
Agreed. I'm dreadfully sorry about the scavenger hunt going wrong.
Bulgy picked up the search party, and for a couple stops, the party divided. I know you don't like having your property stolen, Baldwin, but that was extremely uncalled for. Honestly, why couldn't you have been redeemed like Smudger was?
What? Where am I? Oh. Hello?
At Tidmouth Station, Sir Robert picked up the rail spike, fish plate, and rail, and he brought them all back to the Ulfstead Castle. He and his search party unfortunately had to learn the hard way, where while it's nice to do some exploring, there are some areas that should remain peacefully undisturbed. Some of the engines on the island have favorite jobs. Like Duck enjoys hauling the ballast wagons, Donald and Douglas enjoy clearing the snow with the Unions coach, and Percy enjoys pulling the mail. While some engines, like Bertram, are pretty flexible with whatever job's given to him. He loves hauling passenger trains, goods trains, dangerous trains. He never turns down an assignment given to him. And this job was going to be especially good for him.
Bertram, there's a goods train waiting for you at the Rocky Transfer Yards. I would like you to take it to Ulfstead Castle, please.
Absolutely, sir. Can't wait to see the castle again. I haven't seen much from my last visit, so this year, maybe I'll get lucky.
It had been quite some time since Bertram last visited the Ulfstead Castle for the last 2 times. This one will lead him straight into the castle. He's been on the grounds, but never the interior. So this will be a wonderful treat for Bertram. Bertram arrived at the castle and marveled the grounds and interior.
Wow! So this is the castle. I could get used to this.
He saw knights in armor and the other engines from the estate railway, and Sir Robert Norramby walking along the platform.
Engines? I am pleased to announce that in addition to the museum, we're going to have some special guests here to equip rail vehicles from the railway. Starting with Skip from Allsburg Harbor.
Further east on the island, Humphrey was given a special train alongside Bruno, the Northern Pole Train. It's a Christmas-themed train that would have been called something similar to the Polar Express, but due to copyright with Warner Brothers, they had to change it up a bit. So with everyone on board, the guard waved his green lantern, and Humphrey departed from Knapford and made his way to Ulfstead Castle. Along the way, just outside of the Highland Farm, he saw Skiff and Captain Joe at the trough of the hill that led to the castle.
Oh, hello. Sorry to block your path.
Hello there. We're invited to Ulfstead Castle, but the climate is really tiring, and Golden's hair was bad enough. Please, could you help us?
Oh, sure. I could bank you the rest of the way. Hop on board the carriage, sir, and I'll push your boat all the way up to the castle. Humphrey did just that. It felt a little strange banking a railboat up to the castle, but Humphrey didn't mind. He was glad to see Skiff from the Arlesburg Harbor. We made it! With 5 minutes to spare! We've made it!
Hurrah! Thank you, big engine.
Oh, 'twasn't nothin'. Glad I could lend some assistance to a friend in need, even if it is a boat on wheels.
I've never been to castle before. This will be a great treat.
Well, that makes 2 of us. This is my actual first time within the castle building myself, and we've only seen a fraction of the overall layout.
Oh yeah, I know all about Ulfstead Castle. It's the grandest of all places Sudrians have ever seen.
It's refurbished and in service ever since 2013.
And the staff members are so nice, not a single person means.
It is rather amazing. The open mouth and gazing when you take a visit to Ulfstead Castle. We got shining knights in armor that you've seen in books before.
At the back and through a tunnel, there's a park with dinosaurs.
And here on this estate railway, we've got steam engines galore.
You will find it surprising once you are realizing you just took a visit to Ulfstead Castle.
Now at one point, a pair of thieves had stole a crown.
But luckily they stopped when Toby came around.
He's got a heart of gold.
We've been hosting many parties, did a tech fair and had a feast.
And we're now planning a museum, and last but not the least,
we will have a grand opening until construction has ceased.
Oh, we strongly recommend it that you should go attend it. You should take a visit to Ulfstead Castle.
Why do you all look like you've just finished some musical number?
Later that day, Skiff was marveling the view from one of the castle balconies when Audrey puffed up alongside Skiff.
Greetings, little railboat. Your name's Skiff, right?
Yes, I am.
Well then, I just wanted to swing by and see how you're enjoying the castle. Has everything tickled your fancy?
Yep, I heard the song.
The engines, the knights, the dinosaurs, the parties, the mine.
The mine?
You haven't heard of Ulfstead Mine? Why, I was told that King Godric's treasure chest was found down there. Some speculate there could have been more to find down there. Perhaps a brave little dinghy like you could go on a mission for little treasure hunting for the museum.
Oh, that would be perfect! Thank you,
Oh, pardon my lack of manners. I'm Audrey.
Audrey? Like the author who wrote your stories?
Bright little dinghy, that... What? Bright little dinghy. That'd be correct.
At the castle grounds, everyone was having a nice chat, and preparations were made for the holidays party, when something felt missing. Hey, did anyone see Skiff? Last time I saw him, he was within the castle. Suddenly, a whistle was heard. It was only Barry.
Hello, everyone. What's happening?
Oh, hey there, Barry. We're just preparing for our holidays party, but we can't seem to find Skiff. Have you seen him by any chance?
Can't say that I have, but I did see some kind of boat on wheels into the mine.
A boat on wheels? That's Skiff!
Great Scott!
The mine? What are they doing in there?
He could get lost in there. We'll have to find him and bring him back to the castle grounds.
Wait, Humphrey! If the mines will deal with it, I better tag along. I used to work at a few mines back on the Mid Sudrians, and I learned how to navigate through them.
I'm coming too. It's best to go slow in the mines.
Very well. A little search party wouldn't hurt. Humphrey rally-dubbed Bertram on a flatbed and Bruno tagging along behind, and they arrived at the mine's entrance. Now, are you absolutely sure you want to do this, Bruno? It can get dark in there.
It's okay. I got my lantern, and my equipment box has a flare gun for signaling.
Very well then. Let's get to it. So the three friends entered the mine with caution, and they carefully navigated through the mines and tunnels, trying to locate Skiff.
It is pretty dark in here.
Hello? We're in here!
He's this way!
It was all thanks to Bertram's navigation that they eventually caught up with Skiff.
There he is!
Humphrey, am I glad to see you?
Skiff here thought it was a good idea to explore the mines for any treasure or materials that was mined.
Well, that wasn't a very smart idea, especially with the mines being closed for the winter. Let's get you two back to the castle. But the rails were so slippery from the humidity within the mine that Humphrey bumped into Skiff. Skiff rolled backwards further down the mine, and a wild chase was commenced.
I gotcha! Now I know how Brunius feels!
We are taking a break!
She's gonna blow!
Wow, what an amazing ride! We're never going in there again.
My crown sheet. Oh, my crown sheet's burning. Is everyone okay?
Not really. That was
Shaken,
scary.
but not stressed. I'm fine. I'm relieved. No need to worry. I'm A-okay.
Well, at least we made it in one piece. Come on. Let's get back to the castle. And everyone did just that. When they returned to the castle, Captain Joe explained the whole mine shenanigans to Sir Robert.
Well, next time you should ask me instead of one of my engines.
For the rest of the night, everything was calm and grand. The party was a success.
You'll be surprised that Santa doesn't have to pay for parking his reindeer and sleigh. They are always on the house.
You've done an outstanding job finding Skiff. You truly are an old warrior. Oh, it was nothing much. Besides, I can't take all the credit. It was a team effort. Well, they wouldn't have done without you, lad. Say, why don't you stay with us? Me? Stay at the castle and work with you? That will be amazing!
Yeah. You know, I can see it now. 2 standard gauge engines and 2 narrow gauge engines working on the estate railway. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Now that's a remarkable idea. I'll call Mr. Percival if I can purchase him.
Bertram beamed from each front corner of his footplate. He was more than delighted to be co-working with his new friends on his new home at Ulfstead Castle. Production of the Railway Museum resumed like normal. Everyone worked like clockwork, but come the following dawn after the party, Sir Robert had a few stern words with Audrey.
Audrey, this is an outrage! If you learn for your previous years of being the Alpha's private engine, from now on you're going to discuss ideas with me before they're approved. Understand?
Yes, sir. My utmost apologies to you. I vow it will never happen again.
Remarkable! Now let's put all this messy business behind us. The soft opening day is just beyond the horizon.
Audrey and Barry exchanged knowing glares at each other.
Audrey, you're beginning to take this too far.
I haven't gone far enough.
Not far enough. You've already sent goods engine into the mine to get lost. What more could you possibly do?
Whatever it takes to have Sir Topham Hatt reconsider the new location of the museum. I mean, a bloody castle with dinosaurs and knights and flying cars and robots. Ridiculous! We need a more civilized location. We need to be more persuasive.
We?
Yes, we. Don't you remember months ago when that humpback engine found us in the old building? Sir Topham Hatt assigned you to deliver us to be restored. Seeing you was quite the surprise. After hearing about the museum's location, I was appalled. I needed an engine who looked mature enough to assist me and my adversary against our new home. So, I chose you. An engine who never got a chance in the spotlight. I remember your stories being rejected by the public eye, and to make matters worse, with your real basis being revealed to the whole planet, now little to no one cares for you. But with you by my side, we'll convince the old coot that some old castle is no place for a museum. Looks so out of place. They will marvel us.
No, they will reject us.
How so? Just because we've endangered a few of our friends. They've got their little steamworks, they'll be fine. Sometimes desperate times come for desperate measures. For once we're doing this island's legacy a favour.
Not if lives are at the risk. I've already disgraced my rejected name once. I'm not doing it again. I'm sorry, Audrey. If you want to relocate the museum elsewhere, why don't you man up and tell the Earl yourself?
And with that announced, Barry stormed off, leaving Audrey huffing in the dark with disappointment.
Alright, fine. You want something done right, just gotta do it yourself.
While it is strange to see a boat on rails, Bruno, you're not going to believe this, but an engine from the National Railway Museum called Living Thompson on the Festiniog Railway There's another boat on rails called the Spooner's Boat.
I don't really understand, but okay.
Work continued to go normal at the castle, but all of that was going to soon change. Audrey was eavesdropping on the Duke and Duchess of Boxford conversating with Sir Robert.
Well, thanks for the flyer, Sir Robert. I'm certainly most excited for the fireworks.
Now that would be the chance for Audrey to strike. Fireworks are a ticket to destruction.
Perfect.
He picked up the Duke and Duchess and brought them back to Boxford. During Spencer's time in the steamworks, until he gets a new boiler, Audrey would take care of delivering the Duke and Duchess to their designated locations. On his way down from the castle to the summer house, Audrey began to open his cylinders and leak some steam directly onto the rails parallel to him. Phase 1 was complete. Phase 2 would be performed by an unbeknownsing Perrie as he tries to climb up the mountain to the castle. As Perrie began to climb, he felt his wheels constantly slipping and losing traction.
Goodness, I don't remember the rail being this slippery.
He turned on his sanders and began to pour on a little more power. However, as he did, sparks began to erupt from his funnel. Some of them landed right onto the crates that were full of fireworks.
Oh no, the fireworks!
The sparks ignited the fireworks, and the fireworks blasted upward towards the cliffside, breaking up the landscape and beginning to cause a landslide.
Driver, reverse!
Where the museum was hanging on to.
Oh, God! What's happening to the museum?
Huh? What was that? Wait here, Bruno.
What the dickens? Brother, did you hear that?
I did! It sounds like the building's being demolished!
I think the museum is being demolished.
And we're still inside! Mamma mia, help us!
Guys, hold on!
Flynn! Stephen! Help us!
Couple us up, sir, so the engines can pull us out!
Right, hang on! We're going to have to get you all out of here!
Sir Robert!
Pull, lads, pull!
It's no good! We're not strong enough!
That's when all hope seems lost.
I'm coming! Come on, lads! Heave!
At last, the engines were pulled to safety. A quarter of the museum was ripped away from the rest of it.
Is everyone okay?
Pumping pistons!
Phew!
That was too close for comfort.
I'm okay. Oh no!
The museum!
It's ruined.
In the distance, Audrey felt the rumbling. He smirked a devious smile. The deed was done.
Oh no, I better seek for help.
Perrie raced away to find some help, while the other engine sat there stranded.
Thanks again for saving me and before everyone. And now the museum is ruined. I don't know what to
Man, I was really looking forward to this museum for years by the sound of it.
Yeah. Poor Sir Robert.
What about poor everyone? With that landslide, you and that break van with the crow's nest are trapped.
A landslide? A destroyed museum? And us trapped? Oh dear, what a predicament! Oh!
Now, Bruno. No need to panic.
Remember, Bruno, deep breaths.
Okay. Deep breaths. Focus on what's here now.
Perfect. Let's take a moment to calm our nerves, and let's think this strategically and in order.
So looks like the first thing we need to do is wait for help. That landslide below us is blocking the line, trapping us.
Wait, the landslide cleared where the center gauge tracks are, but not the narrow gauge tracks. Perrie, can you go and find to get help?
Magnifique. I run down and find some help immediately.
Oh, that's perfect! Well, go for it, Millie. Not a second to spare. And Millie left Ulfstead Castle to search for help. Bertram was at Elephant Park with a passenger train when Millie puffed alongside of him.
Millie? Is that you?
Bertram, we need your help. The standard gauge engines are trapped by a landslide at the castle.
Heavens above! We better tell the thing controlled then. He could send Thumba out to clear the rubble.
Perrie arrived at Knapford Stations in a hurrying manner.
Sir. All right, Perrie. Calm down and tell me what happened.
I was pulling up train of fireworks, and I was having trouble getting to the top when my spark set off the fireworks and caused a landslide trapping those at the castle.
Great Scott! How horrible! We must help them at once. Fetch a flatbed to pick up Darcy to clear the rubble.
As Perrie fetched a flatbed, Sir Topham Hatt rapidly emerged from his office.
Hold on, Barry. Take that 2 flatbeds. I want you to pick up Thumper at the Rocky Transfer Yard to help Darcy clear the rubble too.
After picking up Darcy, Perrie picked up Thumper, and the 3 made their way to Ulfstead Castle. Hold tight, my homies. We're on our way. Darcy and Thumper were unloaded from the flatbeds and got to work eradicating the rubble blocking the tracks. Marvelous. Step 1 is in motion.
Now that sounds orderly. I like it when things go in order.
You see, fellas, things are a lot better when they're organized and well thought out.
We're doing one thing at a time. Make your list, and you'll do fine. It gets better when you realize things are smoother when they're organized. Getting worked up will never do. Complete step 1, and then step 2. There's no need to be a nervous wreck with the list of jobs that you can check. You must be sharp and keen.
We're not sure what you mean.
It's not a hit or miss when you mark your list. You're checking the square, you're not halfway there, you're making it through and there's so much to bear. Continuing down, you're nearly done with your list. Now that was fun. Everything's gone nice and neat. The mess is clean, the engine's free. And just like that, the list's complete.
Perrie, you made it!
Great job, everybody! Well, thank you for freeing our friends, Betty.
Oh, it was nothing. Glad I can help. Wait, where's Audrey?
Wait, let me do a head count. Oh yeah, where is Audrey?
Last time we saw him, he left with the Duke and Duchess of Oxford.
Looks like he dodged a bullet there.
Perrie started to get a little suspicious with Audrey's absence.
Where are you going?
To see an engine about the museum.
He took Darcy and Thumper back to their designated areas and made his way to the Vicarstown shunting yards to drop off the 2 flatbeds. It was there where the Duke and Duchess were dropped off at Vicarstown after their visit at the summer house, and where Audrey would drop off their coach. There he sat with pride in a little goods shed.
Ah, Barry. I trust your last train to Ulfstead went out with a bang.
So, that was you.
Not here. Let's stroll along the main line.
Along the mainline loop, he explained everything to Bear.
With the delusional Earl out of my way, I will be providing lectures and teaching the legacy, the lore of this island, the way the Reverend would have wanted it.
You're not going to get away with this, so everyone will know the truth.
What truth? That I assigned you to a good Percy and get into trouble, have Skiff end up lost in the mine, trap that bipedal laundry basket and his engines in that old castle he loves so much. None of that matters. Because the truth is what I make it.
Barry stopped to get a drink of water as Audrey continued all the way down to Tidmouth.
Well, I never!
Good grief, it's you!
As Audrey arrived at Tidmouth, he was surprised to see Humphrey there. Both he and Percy were covered in flyers, asking for assistance and donations to help rebuild the museum. Oh, hey Audrey. Care to join our flyer advertisements?
You! But how did you two break free from the landslide?
Barry will help us out. Now the question is, how do you know we were trapped?
Audrey's eyes widened and his face went pale.
Well, that's to say...
An excellent question indeed. Well, Audrey, shall we have the truth, and not what you make of it?
With a deep exhale from his nose, he decided it was high tide for the cat to be out of the bag.
Yes, sir. This was all because of me. Surely you lot must understand the pride and fame of this island's legacy is already dim. And this year hasn't had the best start.
Everyone stared in horror at Audrey's unveiling true colors. No. You couldn't have.
Is that true?
You've really disgraced yourself, 403. I can't even say a real name.
Well, I never. All we're at the current state of the franchise is not everyone's cup of tea, to say the least, especially the technology fair, but it was something to be happy about.
Agreed. You know, if it weren't for the tech fair, we wouldn't have had Sonny. He's a nice tank engine mutual.
Exactly. Even though there were some wild events out of the ordinary, it seems like you've forgotten our railway's motto, Nil unquam simile, which means there is nothing quite like it. I thought you were better than this. I can't even think of a punishment worthy for this kind of act, for crying out loud.
You know, sir, on the subject of exposure, I think I may have just the consequence. Weeks have passed, but finally, in March, the day of the museum's new opening date has finally arrived, and everyone was looking forward to arriving at the grand opening. I can't wait to see what the museum has in store for us. Say, I never really got to ask. Exactly how did you find out about Audrey's plan?
I overheard the conversation Perrie had with a couple of others back at the castle. Bertram, could you do me a favor and escort me to Crovin's Gate, please?
Oh, sure thing, sir.
Sir Topham, what a surprise! Where to?
To the Vicarstown shunting yards, please.
Rightio!
So I followed him and heard everything.
Never underestimate the Topham family. They are a very clever bloodline.
Why, hello, Percy.
Why, hello there, Perrie. You look upbeat.
Oh, I am. I'm taking the Duke and Duchess to the Ulfstead Railway Museum.
Oh, that's great. But wait, whatever happened to Audrey?
Oh, don't worry. We'll see him.
With the guard's whistle, everyone made their way to Ulfstead Castle, and the grand opening was in full swing. Instead of being built near a cliffside, the museum was rebuilt to be a part of the electric loop line Elmer was running on. Ward, Manford, Stewart, and Befana were all on display within the building. And what about 403? Well, he was still part of the museum, but in the most embarrassing way possible. The outer part of his body were stripped away, exposing his tubes, boiler, and firebox, making him a visual display of how a steam engine works.
So, it was all set up?
Well, I'm glad my shift to disliking him was validated. Him not deserving to be named after the author is a huge understatement.
As the Earl Soda, by the power invested in me, I hereby declare the museum officially open!
At last, after 8 years of the project on hold, Sir Richard Robert Norramby has finally opened his museum. And he also successfully purchased Bertram from the Starlily Railway to work on the Estate Railway with Millie, thanks to Mr. Percival's approval. 080 stayed with the museum as well until they had to leave the following day. And everyone was happy. Well, almost everyone. Okay, I think I may have overdid it with the zoom out.
You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said. Son, you've got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got troubles, and I've got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together, we can see it through. Because you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. Some of the folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too, maybe. But none of them will ever love you the way I do, just me and you, babe. As the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me.
You just remember what your old pal said, son, you've got a friend in me. You just remember what your old pal said, son, you've got a friend in me. Some of the folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too, maybe, but none of them will ever love you the way I do. Just me and you, babe. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said, son, you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. We're doing one thing at a time. Make your list and you'll do fine. It gets better when you realize things are smoother when they're organized. Getting words up will never do. Complete step 1 and then step 2. And there's no need to be a nervous wreck with a list of jobs that you can check. You must be sharp and keen. We're not sure what you mean. It's not a hit or miss when you mark your list. You're checking square and you're halfway there. You're making it through when there's so much to bear. Counting down, you're nearly done with your list now. That was fun. Mavis is clean, engines free, and just like that, the list complete. You just remember what your old pal said, son, you've got a friend in me. Some of the folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too, but none of them will ever love you the way I do. Just me and you, baby. And as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. Yeah!